Now pay attention, 00 Stephen. You have a mission this week. There are diamonds that you must smuggle from Amsterdam to Las Vegas. You've been there recently, I heard.
T, I feel like I've spent forever in Las Vegas, you might say.
We're back. 24 frames per second presents The Good, the Bad, the Bond. That's right, it's season 2, and this season we're talking all James Bond all the time. I'm Travis, TVsTravis, if you will, and that over there is Steven. Steven, how are you?
Yes, it's me back again to talk about another movie series. Travis, I am so excited to do this with you yet again. Go in a whole different direction this season in how we operate. We didn't just go, let's watch all the Rocky movies or let's watch all Rambo. We said, no, let's do something a little bit different. So what are we doing? What is the good, the bad, the Bond?
So what we're doing is we are going through every era of James Bond from Sean Connery to Daniel Craig, and we are going to watch the highest and lowest rated of each of their respective sets of films. Now, for someone like Timothy Dalton, that's only going to be the 2 movies that he did. But we're going by the Rotten Tomatoes critics conglomerate score, deciding on the lowest rated one, the highest rated one, and that's what we're going to watch. We're kicking things off with the original Sean Connery, right? Yes. The man. And the lowest rated Sean Connery film was 1971's Diamonds Are Forever. So 1971, directed by Guy Hamilton. Diamonds Are Forever. Quick little breakdown of what the movie was exactly. James Bond is tasked with figuring out who is smuggling diamonds out of South Africa, but they're not doing anything with them. They're just hoarding them. And so he is sent to Amsterdam to find a smuggler, and then from Amsterdam to Las Vegas in the United States, where a man named Willard White, very reclusive figure, is apparently doing something nefarious. And that's where James learns that Blofeld, who he kills in the cold open.
Yeah, right out of the gate.
Yeah, just shoves him into a mud pile, like a little mud bog, which we'll talk about that. Turns out that wasn't the real Blofeld, and the real Blofeld is hoarding the diamonds to make some sort of a super space laser that he's going to hold the planet hostage with. This is when we were getting into... Really. Yeah. This is when we were really getting into some of the crazy Bond plot lines. Yeah.
I think for this first episode, Travis, of this new show, I think it would be worth level setting with everyone your Bond experience. Sure. Because if you've seen all 27, I think there's 27 now, Bonds, then you probably have a different opinion over the course of a series of which ones are your favorite, which ones aren't, who's your favorite Bond, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But if you've gone in and you've seen maybe 12 of 27, might skew kind of your overall perspective in the movies. I know it might for me, for sure. So, what's Absolutely. Your Bond history as we kick it off?
Yeah, so my Bond history is I've definitely seen all of the Bond films at one time or another, but many of them I've seen more often. My first Bond was Sean Connery, so those were the movies I watched a lot of. Specifically, I would say probably From Russia with Love and Goldfinger were the 2 I've seen the most of Sean Connery's. But I definitely liked all his, and then Pierce Brosnan was the first Bond I saw in theaters. I saw Goldeneye in the theater, and I have a love of these movies because they are cheesy, they are campy, but they're also really good spy thrillers. Some things age better than others, but overall, I just really enjoy it. And I mean, my ultimate is still Connery because he was the first one that I ever saw.
Yeah,
how about you?
Sure. Yeah, for me, it's pretty similar. I think I caught most James Bond movies on TBS when they used to, or was it TBS or USA? Somebody had the 23 Days of Bond every summer. TBS. or something like that. And I caught a lot of them that way. So they're all cable versions of the movies, which I don't know how close they sat. But the first one I really liked was GoldenEye, because I was of the ripe age to play Nintendo 64. And the GoldenEye game movie tie-in really pulled me into the universe. And then I went to see all the James Bonds after that. But Connery, of course, when I did go back and explore some of the old stuff, Connery was big for me. I watched a lot of Roger Moore movies. I remember a bunch of those because it was hard. Like if you turned on TBS in the 21 Days of Bond, you were watching a Roger Moore, like the majority of the time. Cause I think he did 7 or 8 movies. It was a ridiculous amount. So he was kind of big. I've never seen a single George Lazenby. I don't think I've ever watched Timothy Dalton. So there's a few going through here that are going to be first watches for me.
Excellent.
This was a first watch for me. So it's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was the movie that brought Sean Connery back for one. We'll talk about him a little bit more. But one thing I did want to mention here at this point is every Bond movie has a song and an opening credit sequence. That is a staple of the series because we had our cold open, then we go into the movie. The cold open almost follows directly from the movie before it. And in fact, this was going to be a direct sequel to On Her Majesty's Secret Service. But for reasons that we'll get into, they pivoted and went in a different direction. So we had our cold open and then our opening song, and they brought back Shirley Bassey to do this song. And I think the song is pretty decent, and the opening credits are all right. They're not. They were trying to recapture like Goldfinger, and they just didn't quite get it. But you'll find that I have that same feeling about a lot of this movie.
They just didn't quite get it.
Yeah, but overall, it's still an enjoyable opening credit sequence.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it was weird. So I started watching this with my kid, who's 10, which is watching James Bond is so weird because you're like, is this age appropriate? Because there's so much innuendo and there's so much that goes like over their heads. And every intro to a James Bond movie is silhouettes of naked women, every single one of them. And I'm just like, is a silhouette too much? I'm sitting there having like these dad conversations with myself. Like, is this too much? Maybe. But he was like, it didn't seem to faze him. So I'm like, okay, this is probably fine.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, we can't talk James Bond without talking about the man himself.
My name is Bond. James Bond.
Yes.
So, yes, Sean Connery returns for this film. So he had done 5 movies, and then they made the 6th one, which was On Her Majesty's Secret Service. He didn't want to do it anymore. He was tired of playing the role. There's a famous thing during the press tour for You Only Live Twice. I think he was in Japan at the time. He did an interview, and he wasn't wearing his toupee, and he was dressed very casually. And the interviewer asked him, made some comment about him not looking like James Bond. And he's like, I'm not James Bond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I get that. Like, it's got to be tough to do the same character multiple times in a row. And especially something as internationally known as James Bond, because it was a phenomenon in the 60s. And so he didn't want to come back. So they cast George Lazenby. We'll talk a lot more about that in a couple of episodes when we discuss that movie. But after that movie didn't do as well, they were going to do a sequel, or they were going to do a follow-up movie. And originally it was going to be a direct sequel to that movie. And it was going to be this like big-time revenge movie where Bond goes after Blofeld for killing his wife that he had met and married, and this whole thing. Well, George Lazenby decided he didn't want to come back. He didn't particularly like the rigorous schedule and kind of all that sort of stuff. So he wasn't keen on coming back, and they were going to hire and cast an American to play James Bond.
No,
they actually had, I think his name is John Gavin. He was in Psycho. He was going to play James Bond. They had him cast. They had him signed to a contract, but United Artists wanted a bigger name. They wanted Connery back. And so they ended up coaxing Connery back to do this movie by paying him $1.25 million for this role, which is
in 1971 money.
Yes, which is insane to think about. The cool thing that I read was that Connery took that money and used it for his art foundation in Scotland for Scottish artists, like donated it. So he basically took that money and funneled it back into art scholarships.
Wow.
And stuff like that. But they lured him back with $1.25 million and the promise that they would produce 2 films for him, I think.
Oh, okay.
And it ended up he only made 1, but
by the way, that $1.25 million is $9,900,000 in today money.
Okay.
That's a substantial paycheck.
That is a pretty good paycheck. It's not on the level of some stars these days, but that is still, that is a lot of money to be making. And some of that did kind of affect the budget of the film a little bit because they had to pay him so much to come back. But hey, he wanted to come back. And this ended up being his last official Eon Productions James Bond role because he came back, he did this, and then they went in a different direction. Mm-hmm. He decided he was done. And he did come back and do Never Say Never Again in 1983, so 12 years after this, which is not an official James Bond Eon production.
Right.
There's a whole legal mess with that. The basics of it, because that's not going to be one we're covering for this series. The basics of that was when they made Thunderball. Thunderball was a novel based on a screenplay that was itself based on a short story. So effectively, there was a short story and a screenplay written, and then Ian Fleming took that and adapted it and made the novel Thunderball, and then they made the movie Thunderball. Well, the guy that wrote
heard you like adaptations.
Right?
Put some adaptations into adaptations.
And the guy that wrote the original short story then sued because he's claimed that he created the character of Blofeld as it was there, Spectre, and the story of Thunderball. And he ended up getting the movie remake rights to Thunderball, but also Eon Productions. This is the last time Blofeld shows up in a movie too, officially. Until Spectre.
Well, for a while. Yeah, until Spectre.
Until Spectre, because of all this legal battle. But during all of that, what ended up happening was the guy got his production done and made Never Say Never Again, which is just Thunderball done over, but with a 10 years or 12 years older Sean Connery in it from this movie. So at this point, he was already starting to age out of the role and be a little bit older than maybe you want.
83, he would have been way too old for the role.
Yeah. And honestly, I love Sean Connery, but in 83 and Never Say Never Again, he's just not quite, it's not James Bond anymore. Like, not the way that you want to think of him as. So that happened, but this was his final official James Bond movie. And you can tell when you watch this versus You Only Live Twice that he's a little more excited to be there. He's a little better in this one. He doesn't feel quite as phoning it in. Not that he ever did. I mean, it's a credit to his professionalism that he no matter what the movie is, Sean Connery always brings it, but he's got it here. And I mean, the guy had so much charisma and such screen presence and the look and the swagger. He is James Bond.
Yeah, and it's funny because some of the reviews have pointed out like he's phoning it in or he doesn't look like he's having a good time. And I felt the complete opposite to those comments. Like he seems like he's having a good time to me, and he's having to do some pretty silly stuff. Yeah. And I've been told this was campier than it should have been, and I'm like, it had some camp, but it wasn't Batman 66 camp by any stretch. No. It still had like, I mean, the Blofeld thing was what it was, and it was kind of like, okay, multiple Blofelds, like that kind of stuff. But overall, like he played it straight. I thought Sean Connery played it straight, delivered the performance he needed to. It was like, it was appropriate. It's like playing an instrument to service the song, not to show off. That felt like what we got out of him in this one. And it's been a long time since I've watched these movies, so maybe I watched the best of Sean Connery and I'm like, oh yes, I see now. But right now, I mean, I was happy with his performance.
Yeah, and I think part of it is that his movies, I mean, Bond is always going to be a little campy and a little silly anyway, but his movies were a little bit more grounded. Like, yes, you had Goldfinger and Odd Job's Weird Hat and like all that kind of silly stuff, but it never quite got to the level. This felt almost like a precursor to what they would do with Roger Moore and those movies.
Yeah, sure.
Than the Sean Connery movies. And so it is that transitional period. But I think overall, I agree with you. I think Sean is great in this, and he's having a good time. You can tell. It sounded like he had a really good time in Las Vegas while they were shooting there. The way he tells it, he basically didn't sleep for the whole time they were there. He would just play golf and gamble all day and then film at night, and supposedly had basically affairs with Jill St. John and Lana Wood while they were there. We'll get to those two and kind of what happened there. But overall, I think having Sean Connery back, when we get to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, we'll talk about George Lazenby, but that was going to always be a tall order because you had 5 movies of Sean Connery before that. To be the guy that replaces the legend is never something you want. You don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Now, speaking of history and stuff with these, Guy Hamilton directed this one, right? He also directed Goldfinger.
Yes.
This is one of 4 Bond movies that he had directed. 2 of them with Sean Connery. I don't think The Man with the Golden Gun and Live and Let Die, those weren't Sean Connery movies, right?
Those are both Roger Moore.
Those are both Roger Moore. So he had kind of a beat on the James Bonds that he wanted to make. They evidently liked him. But I thought it was interesting that Goldfinger, being one of the highest rated Bonds, if not the highest rated ever, he also directed. And that maybe that Sean Connery came back largely because, okay, cool, I've worked with Guy Hamilton before.
That was part of it. Yeah. That was actually a thing. They were kind of trying to course correct from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And so they brought back Guy Hamilton, and I mentioned Shirley Bassey and Sean Connery, and they were sort of bringing the band back together and kind of like, all right, we went in that direction. It didn't work. Let's play the hits. Let's do what worked before.
This reminds me of a film franchise that we may have talked about recently, where they reworked everything and just said, let's bring back everybody we like.
Pretty much,
and created something new. Yeah, that's what. I wonder how many other movies that we haven't covered or thought about did something like that. Like, did a movie, tried a new movie, and then went, well, let's reverse course and bring back this director and go.
We just saw that with the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah, they did. J.J. Abrams. Yeah, they leapfrogged. J.J. Abrams leapfrogged his story, and to start it, to have nothing to do with the middle, and then end it. Yeah, by retconning everything that happened in the middle. It was a bold strategy.
It really was. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, having Sean Connery back, I think was a good move. It would have been cool to see what could have happened with Lazenby. But
sure,
if you have the chance to have Sean Connery, you get Sean Connery. So he's good. Mm-hmm. But you can't have James Bond without a villain. You need a villain in these movies.
Good evening, Mr. Bond. Blofeld.
Enter Ernst Stavro Blofeld.
Gosh, I love Blofeld. Blofeld.
This is the 5th different person to play Blofeld, but only the 3rd one where you saw his face. So Blofeld showed up, I think, for the first time in Thunderball. And I want to say it was Thunderball, but he's just faceless, stroking his cat. And then he showed up again in maybe that was From Russia with Love and then Thunderball, but then You Only Live Twice he's in and he's played by Donald Pleasance. And then in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Blofeld is there, but he's played by Telly Savalas.
Ooh, what a good casting that is.
And now in this movie, he's played by Charles Gray. The funny thing about that is that Charles Gray was in You Only Live Twice as a completely different character, one of Bond's allies, a guy named Henderson that he deals with in Japan. But they brought.
Does he look to Henderson in You Only Live Twice?
I notice it but I'm weird and I notice actors. He definitely doesn't have the same hair as that. His hair is lighter here and it's styled differently. But Charles Gray has a very distinct voice. So
yeah, sure.
I also know him as Mycroft Holmes from the Granada Television Sherlock Holmes series. I like Charles Gray a lot. His Blofeld, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's just, it's not Donald Pleasance with the scar and the bald head or Telly Savalas. It's very different.
Yeah.
They also have the really silly thing of plastic surgery and doubles and all of that. He's making decoys because that's our cold open, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love that little subplot of the multiple Blofelds and where they're coming from. And I told, when me and Sam were watching, I was like, Blofeld's not dead. He didn't. That's a decoy, I'm sure. Because I was like, you're not killing Blofeld at the beginning of your movie. It was a cool way to start it, especially with you bringing up that it's meant to be a direct story continuation from the previous movie. So it's kind of cool that they threw that in there. As he's getting revenge and that story's done. Wipe your hands clean. You took care of Blofeld. I like him. It did show me the inspiration for Dr. Evil, because I've kind of always known that was the case. But the way Blofeld was costumed and dressed in this one cemented that for me. Even and the smoking and everything, it was wonderful.
Even more so in You Only Live Twice, when Donald Pleasance is playing the character, because he has the bald head and like the scar on his one eye. That's even more so for Dr. Evil, but like, yeah, it's definitely there. Dr. Evil was modeled off of him. Fun fact about the opening sequence where we've got the double happening and then Bond goes in and he kills the one guy that's in the vat of mud, and then he takes Blofeld and he shoves him into the other vat of mud.
That was mud, so gross, Travis.
It was really so gross. You know what that mud was?
Like, no.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
That mud, mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's even worse. I was looking at that. I was like, that looks like a bad night after Taco Bell went wrong.
Well, so it was all mashed potatoes. And the thing was, mashed potatoes under those hot studio lights, those don't smell good. And apparently, according to, I was watching a documentary, it was horrendous. And they almost couldn't handle being around it. And it smelled so bad.
So it smelled about like it looked. That makes me feel better.
Yep.
It's so terrible.
No, I liked Charles Gray. I just don't think he was quite menacing enough. Like he doesn't ever, and he never feels like a super big threat to Bond, even though he's supposed to be.
He takes a back seat though through most of the movie. Yeah, and in the cold open, you're really not looking at Blofeld. You're looking at two decoys. You just don't know it. So the way he beats him in the beginning makes sense when you look back at it. And then the real Blofeld showing up at the end. But I don't disagree with your thoughts on the plot and how his plan's all crazy and everything.
Yeah, I mean, his whole plan was we're going to make a big laser and okay. So originally the villain of this, in the novel, it is some, I think, just diamond smugglers. I don't really know because I never read it, but they were going to make the villain of this movie be Goldfinger's twin brother, angry over Goldfinger getting killed, and he was going to be played by the same actor that played Goldfinger. And they ended up scrapping that in favor of having Blofeld.
I like this better.
I think I do too.
I'm not a huge fan of the twin comes back for revenge kind of idea. That worked for Die Hard 3, but to me it's hard to pull off. It'd be even harder to pull off if it was a legit twin.
Yeah. A brother I can get behind a little bit, but yeah, the twin.
I don't know. It worked for City Slickers too. that movie's special to me, and they did a similar thing with the twin. But it just depends on the movie, and I don't know. I don't know if I could have bought it with this.
I'm not sure. Although I'd have bought it just as much as I buy the plastic surgery thing, which the whole plastic surgery make doubles stuff was an Ian Fleming idea from a novel somewhere.
Oh, okay.
They did pull it from that.
It reminded me of Smoking Aces a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
At the beginning, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think overall, like Blofeld's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
He has some good one-liners. It is telling when you watch the movie, though, the real Blofeld versus the decoys, because the decoys all call him 007, and the real Blofeld calls him Mr. Bond.
That's interesting. I didn't notice that throughout the dialogue in this movie was so good. There were so many good lines. I mean, they were cheeseball a lot of the times, and they were punny.
Oh, for sure.
But they were good. We'll get to it a little bit, but one of the lines that was thrown out just was amazing to me, and I'll talk about it when we get more to the Bond girls. But it was something else.
Yeah. Speaking of Bond girls.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Plenty O'Toole.
I love that, but of course you are.
Yes.
That was so good.
So we have two Bond girls in this. That voice was not Lana Wood, who played Plenty O'Toole. Her voice was dubbed for someone else. I don't know why they dubbed her voice, but yeah, they dubbed her voice in the movie.
You can kind of tell it's ADR, but I just thought it was because it was a noisy room.
But that's Lana Wood, the sister of Natalie Wood, who they cast her because the producers saw her in Playboy the year before and said she should be a Bond girl.
They were reading it for the articles and for casting opportunities.
So she plays Plenty O'Toole, and the other Bond girl is Tiffany Case, played by Jill St. John. All right, so
yeah,
I teased this a little bit earlier, but apparently both women were, quote, dating Sean Connery during the filming of this movie, and it did create a bit of a rivalry between them that has lasted for quite a while and was exacerbated by the fact that Jill St. John. Now, I was reading about this. Both of these women were married at 16.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And Jill St. John, by the time she was 28, was divorced 3 times.
Good gracious.
And Lana Wood had, I think, 1 or 2 annulments and like 3 divorces by the time she was 34, something like that. Like, so they both married a lot, but Jill St. John ended up marrying Robert Wagner, who was married to Natalie Wood, Lana's sister, prior to Natalie Wood dying on drowning on a boat.
Yeah.
So that's part of the animosity between them is...
Oh my gosh.
But I guess it even extended to like they had a Bond girl reunion photo shoot at some point in the 90s, I think. And like they wanted to get a picture of the two of them because they were in the same movie together, and like they just didn't want to do it or so. I don't know. So Lana and Jill don't apparently like each other. But they also don't have any scenes together in this.
Yeah. Well, they do. They technically have one scene together.
Yes.
But Lana's not conscious.
No. And the one thing, it's annoying the way that goes with this, because like, okay, Jill St. John, Tiffany Case, she's the first American Bond girl in the movies.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
And in the book, Tiffany Case is blonde. So they have that joke, weren't you a blonde when I came in?
Yeah.
That was because they had her as a redhead in the movie. So they made that joke there because she's a blonde in the book. I actually thought Tiffany Case was a decent character overall.
She was fine, but it was, again, there wasn't a lot for her to do other than to just kind of be someone that James could follow around. Like it didn't. She was really involved in the plot for the diamond heist. Like, I mean, that's the first place he goes when he's faking his identity as Peter Franks. Is he goes to her place because that's where the trail leads, and then from there he kind of follows her around here and there chasing these diamonds. But like, I don't really buy them being together for any reason other than this is James Bond and he's going to be with but he was not nice to her and she was not great. So it's like they were not a good team by any stretch.
No, and by the climax of the movie when we're out on the oil platform, she's just sort of there. She doesn't really have anything. Like, she's at least involved and like has agency and is doing things early in the movie, but it feels like by the time they got to the end, they just sort of forgot that she was there, even to the point of having her accidentally put the tape back in.
Yeah, that felt like just a way to stretch the movie out a little more, or to add more tension. It's like, just have her, because she doesn't know he switched the tape already. He thinks he's given her the fake tape to go fix, but he's just hiding the real tape. That was an eye roll for my wife, the way he hid that tape. She's like, oh, geez, okay, down the back of the pants.
It's gonna happen, right?
It's James Bond. These women are not people to him.
No,
they are items that could get in his way or be useful.
Even more so is Plenty O'Toole, who is in the movie to be titillating and then thrown out a window and forgotten about.
Dude, Travis, that's the best sequence in the whole movie. The best sequence in the whole movie. This is all right. James goes upstairs with Plenty O'Toole, and it's, business transactions are about to happen between the two of them. But he gets stopped by 3 henchmen. The 3 henchmen pick Plenty up and chuck her out a window, and she lands in a pool many, many stories below. And James says, that was a remarkable shot. And then the guy goes, I didn't know there was a pool down there. And that just crushed me. I was laughing so hard. I was like, that is some cold stuff. Yep. And that's the dialogue that was in this movie that just was so good to me. There were many of those moments. Yeah. I was like, that's a good line. Good line.
They were filming that in Las Vegas, where Plenty is in the pool. And Lana Wood had said in an interview that she was going to be in the pool and basically nothing. And they assured her, don't worry, we're going to shoot it late at night. No one's going to see anything. Yeah. And then she gets there and she's like, but it's Las Vegas and everybody is awake all night anyway. So there were people watching.
Oh, no.
My one problem there is that then we just sort of, the movie forgets about Plenty until she shows up dead in the pool. Now, there were shots, scenes filmed of her going back up to the room to get info. She finds the address, and that's how she knows where to go. And then when she gets to the house, she is mistaken for Tiffany, and that's why she gets killed. But none of that's in the final movie. It's just sort of, she gets thrown out the window, and then we find her dead in a pool later.
Yeah, a different pool, by the way, just to clarify. Yes. Not the same pool she was thrown into. A different. The pools are not a good place for Plenty O'Toole to be around. Yeah, no, it definitely, there was definitely a huge gap. And to be fair, if the dialogue hadn't instructed me that was Plenty O'Toole dead in that pool, I wouldn't have known. So it was that big of an issue that they had to say, oh, that's Plenty O'Toole in the pool that's dead there. Oh, okay. But why? It's hard. It's hard to say. So those scenes that they cut, you could have cut time off of a couple of the car chases and added those back in to service the plot better and make sure we understood what had just happened. Because James Bond movies can be hard to follow anyway, because they are spy action movies, but they are also mysteries. They're also like Agatha Christie novels. And sometimes you're following threads so far that you kind of lose what is happening. And that does tend to happen to me. I don't know if I have like some sort of issue understanding these movies are going to be work. They're going to be work for me. Because I watch stuff, I go, that was fun. What happened? I don't know. And there were several times where I was like, wait, why are we here? What happened? What did I miss? So I think it would be better if we filled in gaps for dumb people such as myself from time to time.
I mean, look, it happens. There's a lot that goes on in these movies, but
they're dense.
But yeah, so, and then Tiffany, of course, is helping smuggle the diamonds, but at one point she doesn't know where the diamonds are, and she's trying to get James to tell her where it's very convoluted. She does have one of the best single lines in the entire movie, though, and I did capture it, and I will play it. Or you captured it, and I will play it.
Yes, I captured it. I loved it.
Because I'm just going to play it, and then we can talk about it.
We have another winner.
The machine's fixed. Who's she, your mother? Blow up your pants.
What does that mean? What does blow up your pants mean?
She told blow up your pants to like a 10-year-old kid. And that just, that was so amazing to me.
There's that moment. Now, when we first meet Tiffany, she offers a drink and then takes the glass, says, hey, I'll get you some ice, and goes in the back and pulls fingerprints off of it. And I liked that. I liked her, cool. pulling the fingerprints. Granted, she's pulling fingerprints off of the glass without a photo to match to either.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, it's fine. It's the 70s. We didn't have.
Well, she has Peter Franks' real fingerprint.
Yes.
So she could verify that the guy that showed up is Peter Franks, but Q Branch was ahead of them on the fingerprint deal, you know.
So, but I liked that, and I also thought it was really funny when we had the action sequence of the real Peter Franks shows up and Bond and him have their fight in the elevator, which is both a really interesting and also very dated action sequence because it's
so good.
I love the idea of these two, you know, both of them 6'2", 200 pounds, trapped in this tiny little elevator having to fight. It's dated by today's standards of fight choreography, even in a enclosed space like that, but that's not the movie's fault. Like, for its time, it's really, really well done. But afterwards, when Bond finishes him off and kills him, which had this great moment.
Is he dead?
I sincerely hope so.
See? So good.
That's very good. But then she says, as she looks, because Bond switched IDs with the guy, and then she looks at it and says,
"You just killed James Bond."
James Bond is a secret agent. How is this diamond smuggler going to know who the hell James Bond is? That to me was really funny.
I thought about that too. I was like, okay, all right, I'll just let it slide. But the elevator fight, man, the elevator fight was incredible. Because you're in this old fashioned lift with like the gates and the doors and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's this brutal, there's no karate, there's no martial arts. There's just two guys slugging it out in this small space. And there's glass breaking. And at one point, James's head's about to get chopped off by the way that's going up under a beam. It's incredible. And there is not a musical score to accompany this anywhere. There's no action beats. There's nothing. There's nothing but grunts, slams, and that cool double arm judo chop thing that he did. Like, right into the kidneys. Gosh, I was so into that. That was the coolest scene I've ever seen in my life.
That actor, by the way, playing Peter, Joe Robinson, is also the guy that taught Sean Connery judo for the role of James Bond.
Oh, wow.
Like he was his teacher for it. So yeah, that worked out. And like I said, they're both just huge guys in this tiny little space.
I do like that a shard of glass won't cut you where you need to hold it. But it's very effective for stabbing.
Perfect. It's perfect.
That was what I thought. I was like, that guy's hands are not going to be okay. But no, they were fine. It's just a pointy knife. Is what all that
he grabbed the blunt part of the broken glass. the rounded part.
Yes, of course.
I think overall, though, as Bond girls go, they are fine. I don't think
service the
either.
Story.
Yeah, neither of them are particularly memorable, other than the name Plenty O'Toole. Which is just
Tiffany Case is not. She's not quite Kate Capshaw in Temple of Doom useless. Mm-hmm. But close.
She gets there,
especially towards the end.
And I think that the disappointing part about that is that she's set up to be much more capable. Yeah,
it turns to crap right there at the end of the movie. As soon as she's got the machine gun and she fires it and it backfires her off the oil rig. Those kinds of things are too over the top for me. Mm-hmm. Because I know what human beings, regardless of who they are, can do. Mm-hmm. And it just had the airhead. She's not an airhead. She wouldn't be in this job if she was.
Right.
She's
exactly.
Clever.
And so that's the thing, right? They set her up to be clever and then turn her into an airhead.
Right at the end.
By the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I was offended by that. It was nothing but bikini and stupid at the end of the movie. When everything else leading up to that was way more in depth and had more character to it. It was better. So yeah, it's not her fault. She just loses points because the writers couldn't figure out how to end it.
That's right. So Blofeld has some henchmen.
Good evening.
Who are you? And where's Joe?
Joe couldn't make it tonight. I'm Mr. Wint. This is Mr. Kidd.
I loved
Man.
these two. These
They
two
were creepy.
were the best part of this movie for me, was Wint and Kidd. They're also one of the few things that was held over from the novel Diamonds Are Forever. They're actually in it. They are played by Mr. Kidd is Putter Smith, who was a jazz bass player. And I think it was Harry Saltzman went to like a Thelonious Monk show and saw him, and they wanted to cast him in the role. And they were originally going to cast another musician to play Mr. Wint, but then they decided against that, or he backed out or something, and they got Bruce Glover. Now, did Bruce Glover look familiar to you at all?
He did, but I couldn't place him.
That's because his son, you might know as Crispin Glover. George McFly.
Way.
That is, Bruce Glover is Crispin Glover's father. And he was playing the part as very Peter Lorre.
Yes.
Was what he was kind of going for, trying to be really creepy and really weird.
It worked.
Yeah. I mean, I loved these two. They're kind of your perfect henchmen because they are weird and quirky and have a strange look to them. There's also the fact that they are very obviously a gay couple.
Yeah,
but it's never explicitly said. It's never said, but like through their actions and the way they portrayed the characters was. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
It was great. And on the airplane, though, they did allude to if she wasn't a woman or something about his attraction to somebody. So
she's very attractive for a lady.
For a lady, yeah. That was really clever. It was definitely an interesting thing. I'm sure in 1971, that was still really not something you'd throw in your movie just for fun.
Right.
Anyway,
and I think
it was interesting. From
what I understood, watching the behind the scenes on it, that was at their, like, they kind of decided to do that with the characters. I don't think it's the way they were written. And Bruce Glover even went so far as to say, like, he played his character looking at Mr. Wint, looking at Mr. Kidd like you're mine. So that moment where he says she's very attractive, and the look that he gives him is that look of like extreme jealousy for a moment. And I just
that possessive thing.
Yeah. And it informs so much about the character through that. I just really, really enjoyed it. And I loved the very Peter Lorre delivery that he gave on everything. And they cracked me up. I loved this moment.
If God had wanted man to fly,
he would have given him wings, Mr. Kidd.
Yeah, it was right after they did the first deal where the diamonds were going to somebody and didn't make it to him.
Right.
Yeah, these guys were everywhere in this movie. Like everywhere something needed to be messed up, they were there before James was, before anybody else was. And it was cool because they were kind of playing on the outskirts. I don't really know who they worked for. I mean, I guess they worked for Blofeld.
They did, but they never interacted with him.
They never interacted with him, and even at the end, they're still there when Blofeld's gone, still doing stuff. They only know how to hench. That's what they're doing,
basically. I also, because it's me, I had to get Mr. Kidd's laugh on the plane was great. There was another moment on
was so weird and bland, but
it was
captivating.
It was so deadpan in delivery, but it was so outlandish and absurd. And I loved like killing the guy with the scorpion because that's an efficient way to do it. Oh my gosh.
That was so good. I put in my notes to look up if there are any scorpions that can kill that fast, but I forgot to look it up. So somebody have to tell me.
The first shot, the first time they shot that as a deleted scene you could watch, he takes the scorpion and puts it in his mouth. And they decided we can't do that. That's too much. So they switched it to him putting it down the back of his shirt. But they kill that guy with the scorpion. They blow up the helicopter. They kill the lady that they give the diamonds to. Like they are the Anton Chigurh of this movie. Like anybody that meets them dies.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, they're at the mortuary. They're the ones that put James in the coffin, and
everything in the mortuary was just top notch. Best thing I've ever seen. Slumber Incorporated.
Incorporated. So good.
Great name for a mortuary.
Also, another set of henchmen we had was Bambi and Thumper.
Yeah,
at
we have
Willard
them,
White's
didn't we?
house. They are original to the movie. They're not from the novel. And I mean, it was a fun scene just to have them like way over the top doing it, but apparently it was fun to shoot for them.
Oh, good.
So
it was fun. It was not necessary. Like we could have nothing happened.
Not at all,
because they were there. Like James still got where he wanted to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
It did throw him in the pool, which showed me how powerful a Hollywood hairpiece can be. I mean, that thing didn't move.
Nope.
So
nope,
good
not
job.
at all.
Yeah, good job.
No, I liked the henchmen in this overall. Like Winton Kid, I really, really dug them. And the fact that they get the best deaths at the end of the movie.
Oh my gosh, the end. So Sam had left. We were watching this together. He had left at one point because he said this movie was disrespecting women, and I was like, "I'm proud of you." And then he left. He's 10, and then he came back at the end, and it was the scene where the bomb and the dinner that they're having.
Yep.
And the way James grabs Wint by the coattails and flips him like head over feet off the side. So I've never seen Sam laugh so hard at a movie before. Like it was the funniest thing.
That was fantastic. And also Putter Smith did actually have his arms lit on fire.
It had to be him. I could tell from the looking at it.
The arms were, but then they put him out and then they had a stuntman, get engulfed in flames. But yeah, they were great.
Him coming at Bond with the flaming kebabs.
Yes.
It was just the best thing I've ever seen. It was so campy, but it was so good. I was just smiling ear to ear that whole scene. It was great.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was. It was so good. And they also have a moment when they're on the plane. I just have to play this because this definitely tells you when this movie was made.
Would you please fasten seatbelts and no smoking until airborne? Thank you.
No smoking until airborne.
Until airborne.
Yeah. Now, James can't do this alone. We had our Bond girls. We got our henchmen. But James has friends, too.
Well. Felix Leiter, you old fraud.
Felix Leiter is back. We had some allies. And here's Felix. The downside to it is I love Felix Leiter. This is not the best version of Felix Leiter.
Yeah.
There were many better ones. This is kind of forgettable. But it's I still like to have him pop up, good old CIA agent Felix Leiter.
There's not much to say about him. He was there when he needed to be. I mean, this one takes place in the States, in Vegas, so Felix is probably in it more than he typically is, because he's tracking these diamonds with Bond for the most part. But yeah, it was a good performance. It wasn't really anything to write home about, but he did have some really great lines throughout the movie. I'm glad he was there. I think he added enough to it.
But our other kind of ally character is Willard White, who is a bit of a MacGuffin for a while, right? Now Willard White as a character was based on Howard Hughes.
That makes sense.
And Howard Hughes at the time had a hotel. He owned the Desert Inn in Las Vegas and lived in the penthouse of it, and didn't leave for a couple of years. And basically, Albert Broccoli had a dream one night that someone kidnapped Howard Hughes, and that's what made him want this in the movie. So they made Willard White. Well, then they offered the role to Jimmy Dean
of sausage fame.
It's that Jimmy Dean. It is the Jimmy Dean of country music and sausage fame, who at the time worked at the Desert Inn for Howard Hughes. So he was like, I'm not sure if I should. Well, yeah, but he ended up doing it anyway. And he said he had a great time, and he learned, like, he played golf with Sean Connery every day, and he just had a blast. I liked him in this. He is the over the top, ridiculous American. The weird thing of, like, plot wise, none of it makes any sense because he's supposed to be kidnapped and missing, but they just kind of find him at his house.
He's just a recluse, and Blofeld was taking advantage of him being a recluse. But there was so much play. Like, the name Willard White was so good because you had the White House was his big hotel, which I thought was pretty great. He had that, and he was known to being a recluse because he has that weird thrown toilet thing in his office.
Right?
Super weird.
That's very weird.
Okay. Yeah, his telephones and screens. I'll take the call in the John. You know, he's that kind of guy. But that makes sense. I mean, if you're basing it off Howard Hughes, he probably did have a phone in the bathroom.
Probably. We also, early in the movie, we do have our one scene with M, and it's Bernard Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And he had played M in all of the movies to this point.
Oh, wow.
So it's the same M in every movie. We also had, in the book, the character of, what was the name again? The Tree. He's the comedian.
Oh, Shade Tree.
Shady Tree. So in the book, Shady Tree is actually an ally of Bond, but in this, he's just sort of working with them. He does have a great line, which
just
is
the best line.
And he was based off of Shecky Green, pretty obviously. But when Bond is in the mortuary and he's put into the casket, and then all of a sudden the casket just opens up and you get,
"You dirty double-crossing limey fink, those goddamn diamonds are phonies."
It was such a wonderful delivery. It wasn't even what he said as much as he just said it all in one breath with like being angry but not really yelling. It was the best. It was the best line I've ever heard.
It's a Shecky Green delivery. It's an insult comic delivery, and it's perfect.
It was great.
Yes, he was wonderful.
He was gonna get cremated and stuff. It just immediately opens the thing and yells at him.
Yep,
so funny.
But he was a lot of fun. And that was a great moment in the movie.
Now, pay attention, 007.
Can't have a James Bond movie without gadgets.
Oh yeah, and this Q played by Desmond Llewellyn, I think is how you pronounced it. Llewellyn. Yeah, yes. Love that dude. He's been Q for a long time.
He was Q, I believe, every movie from Russia with Love until not Tomorrow Never Dies, but I think the one after that.
Either The World Is Not Enough or
I think it was The World
Day.
Is Not Enough was his last one.
And then John Cleese came in.
Yep.
As Q for a little bit.
I love Q. There's not a ton of gadgets in this. We do have, really. We had the little inside pocket like mousetrap thing in the cold open. We had the fake fingerprints were a bit. Mm-hmm. There was the like grappling gun, piton firing gun that James uses when he's on top of the building. Yeah, the little Batman gun.
Yeah. He had that little ring that he was using to rig the slot machines.
That was my favorite gadget.
That was the best. He was just jackpotting every slot machine in a row. There were some other non-Q branch gadgets that just were in the movie that I thought were pretty cool. There's a hovercraft to get to Amsterdam. Yep. I did not know that was a thing. That was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Great job. This is also not a gadget, but more of a Bond feature, but I thought was pretty amazing. It's his ability to social engineer his way into anywhere. James Bond's one of his best skills is to just act like he's supposed to be there. Like when he goes to White's lab and he meets that dude and he's just he shoulder surfs his way into the facility. Yeah. And guy doesn't question him about a badge. He's like, "Oh, you're missing your radiation thing. I forgot it in the car," or whatever he said. Yeah. And he plays it so well. Anyway, that's just incredible to me. And then Blofeld's Batho sub. I want one.
Yes, I want the Batho sub. We also had the James Bond car. There's always a car in every movie. And in this case, the movie was shooting in America, and they were going to use Ford for a lot of the cars. And because they were going to wreck a bunch of stuff, Ford's like, all right, that's fine. But James has got to drive a Ford Mustang. So the car in this is a 1971 Ford Mustang Mach 1 Fastback. It's a really great car. It's a great car. My one issue, it doesn't feel like a James Bond car.
No. Well, and that's James Bond drives Aston Martin, man. So it's hard. We don't have an American body style at the time that would match that. not an American car.
No, we don't. Yeah.
And if you're going to pick a car that is going to give you, if James Bond were an American institution, it'd probably be the Mustang at that time that he'd be driving.
Oh, for sure. No, it's a great car, and it fit the Las Vegas thing. I do find it hilarious that when he first has the car, they're following someone in a red Ford Mustang driving extremely fast. Like that's the worst pursuit tailing driving I've ever seen, because you're giving away your position. But I digress. It does give us our car chase. Got to have a car chase.
The car chase is so good.
The car chase was great. It did go on a bit long.
Yeah.
They could have cut some of that, especially the stuff in the little parking lot where they
he went around and around,
because they made like 3 or 4 rotations in that parking lot. They could have done
needed
it in like
Benny Hill music.
It really did.
To play.
It was very Keystone Cops Benny Hill. But the fun thing was that was all shot in Las Vegas, and you and I have been to some of those locations.
Yeah. They passed by the Golden Nugget, and I was like, hey, I know where that is.
In the background of the one shot was the plaza being built.
Oh, no way. All right.
Yeah. The end of Fremont Street, and the plaza was being built at the time. And so like we've stood outside of the Golden Gate, and it was cool to see that. And this also has a very famous stunt done in it in this movie that is both an incredible stunt and an incredible goof, because there's an alley. They're not going to be able to drive through the alley. So James kind of drives the car up onto 2 wheels, and he's on the passenger side wheels to get it through this skinny little alley. So they shot that. And I think what I read was they shot the part where they enter the alley on the Universal back lot. And they had a second unit ended up having to shoot the coverage for it because they didn't have time. And the second unit shot some stuff and it didn't work. So they reshot again, but the unit that did the reshoots had the car turned the wrong way. And what they were having trouble with was getting the car to come out of the alley on Fremont and then drop down and drive away. But they ended up getting it. The problem was it was on the driver's side wheels at that point. And so Guy Hamilton was like, what am I going to do? Yeah. And so they inserted a shot in the movie that just twists the view. And that's it. That's how he got around it. And it is simultaneously one of the greatest and dumbest things in a movie, period. Because there's no way that would happen, but I don't care. It doesn't matter at all.
I was having too much fun, and I was loving, and we have a couple sound clips of it during this chase. Leroy E. Hollis, uncredited as like the sheriff. I don't know, Mr. Cop guy, and
he was great.
His line delivery is just I laughed out loud so hard at both of these things.
Right, because we've had, I forgot, we had the whole sequence at the moon, the fake moon landing before this.
When he races out in the moon car, the
when
3-wheelers.
He takes off in the moon car and the 3-wheelers, and they're driving through the desert, and all the guys are chasing him in their big boats, the giant cars that are just flying all over it. It is the most ridiculous chase possible. And James gets out of all of it on a 3-wheeler and then gets in the car and they drive away and they make it back to Las Vegas. It is so good.
James Bond getting on the 3-wheeler was the best thing I'd ever seen, because he just drop kicks the guy off of the 3-wheeler and then gets on it, and you just can't look cool on that thing. No. It's got an orange go-kart flag on the back. It's just...
It does.
Like,
and it's small.
He was cooler in the moon car, and that was ridiculous.
He was absolutely cooler in the moon car, and that had a bubble window on it.
Yeah, it did. That's amazing.
Because it's 6'2" Sean Connery getting on this 3-wheeler that, it's like me on a mini bike. It's the most ridiculous looking thing. It really was.
It was so stupid.
But yeah, then they take off, and when they get back to downtown Las Vegas, Leroy there, the sheriff, as the red Mustang drives by, because look, it's a distinctive car, and you get,
there goes that son of a bitch and saboteur.
And he takes off after him, pulls him over. And I do like how James gets out of that. The cop pulls him over, right? pulls in front of him, and he walks up to the window, and James just sort of throws it in reverse and drives away. And they just start driving in circles, and they end up in that parking lot, and they're driving around the parking lot, and like they're just smashing into other cars all randomly. And then we cut back to the sheriff, and the sheriff on the radio.
Come in, Larry. Larry? Larry? You get him, Larry? I think Larry got him. Sheriff. Attaboy, Larry. Come in.
It's the attaboy after getting no response.
Yes, exactly.
Killed me. I was rolling because I was just assuming like, Larry got him. Attaboy, Larry.
Larry got him. That's fine. It was so great.
I just want that man to do anything he wants. It was so good.
It really, really was.
Uncredited, and it gave me the biggest laugh of the whole dang movie.
That's the second best thing in the movie after Winton Kid is the sheriff and Larry. Just the ridiculousness of it all.
Yeah, that's probably where you see people talk about the camp of this movie, is that it had a very Dukes of Hazzard, Roscoe P. Coltrane kind of situation going on.
It was the camp, and then all like the silliness on the oil rig with like the scientist, and you got the scientist who's like, we need to stop, and Blofeld's like, shut up or I'll shoot you or whatever. Like he tells him to stop, and it just gets very, very, very silly very quickly there. You mentioned earlier with Tiffany and like firing the machine gun and it like making her fall off the rig, the batho sub, all of that is very silly and very campy, but it's a James Bond movie. It was a lot of fun. I think overall, I had a good time with this one. This is the lowest rated of the Sean Connery films, but it's not terrible by any stretch. No. It's still a good time. What did some of the critics say about this one though, Stephen?
Yeah, so this one, I mean, given what it is, I believe it was a 60-something percent, 66%, 64% fresh. So, I mean, even given that it was still the worst of the Connerys, it's still enough to meet the fresh rating from the critics. We had some of the better ones, best mechanical gimmick mayhem in town. It would be Connery's final appearance in the official series, and he goes out in style. Like, these are some of the ones, but some of the ones that disagreed said this might be the last time for another several features that Bond actually feels like a secret agent. So it's like that person was looking at it like maybe it's going downhill. This one says maybe I'm doing Diamonds a disservice. There's some fun moments and some silly moments that I can't defend, like multiple Blofelds, but sadly I felt cheated and still do on what this film could have been. The script is poor, the comedy ill-timed, and the ending anticlimactic. What more can I say? But they're definitely spread evenly. More people liked it than didn't.
And it's kind of how I feel about it. Like, I like it, but it has flaws. And a lot of those flaws end up coming for me from kind of not, they're playing it safe, right? They're playing the hits of James Bond. They bring back Sean Connery. They bring back a director that had made a movie earlier after being gone for a few movies. They bring back Shirley Bassey and to do the song. Like, they're trying to remind people, hey, no, forget about that movie that had the guy we didn't know in it. That one, we're not going to talk about that anymore. Here's you want some Sean Connery? Yeah. Okay, there you go. You want some Shirley Bassey? You remember Goldfinger? That was good. And so that's where it's a little bit disappointing for me, just because there's some cool concepts in here and some fun, campy ideas. They almost need to lean into more, because I do think Winton Kid work. I think that's a fun thing there. I kind of like the idea of casting Jimmy Dean as this reclusive billionaire type guy who ends up, helping and wanting to be part of things. It's a little disappointing that like Felix is in the movie, but he's just sort of meh, like he's very milquetoast. Especially a movie set in the States. Like, he should have been more of a focal point. But same thing with the writing of the characters like Tiffany. You know, they start off strong, but by the end of the movie, she's just sort of arm candy. And
yeah, she's there.
We could have done better.
And treated that way by the male leads in the movie.
Yes.
You know, and that's not unexpected. But, like, I mean, James Bond in this movie is just basically like, you're a stupid bimbo. Is basically the way he was treating her towards, and it felt very dated and very wrong in how it was done. Like, and I get it. I can look at the art in its place pretty well, but it's still like, still too much.
Yeah,
especially like I've never seen James Bond choke a woman with her own bikini. That was a shock right there at the beginning of the movie.
A little bit, yeah. Plus, there was some booby there too. Very briefly.
I did not notice that when I saw it. That's probably a good old freeze framer.
I mean, it's definitely very brief, but he grabs her bikini top and chokes her with it. This was an angry James Bond at the beginning of this movie.
He was kind of on a quest, a vengeance quest.
I do like the in-jokes early in the movie of like James being on vacation or on holiday.
Yeah.
And it welcome back from your holiday type thing, where, you know, if you're paying attention, you know, that was written in there because Sean Connery coming back. Like, I like that. No, I mean, yes, it is the lowest rated Connery movie, but this still is a good time and definitely worth a watch. I'm not going to put it high on my list. Like there's almost 30 James Bond movies at this point. It's in the lower half for sure, but all the James Bond movies are worth watching. Like if you're watching the 23 days of 007 or whatever, you could do some kind of a movie marathon. You're going to have a good time with this one.
Yeah, this was not a disappointment to me by any stretch. I walked in, you know, we're doing the good, the bad, the Bond, and I'm like, okay, this is bad, and I'm watching it going, nah, it's still, even as the lowest rated, it's still good. Like it's a good movie. The song didn't grab me. I didn't love the theme song of this one. Shirley Bassey's fine. Goldfinger is one of the top Bond themes ever. But this one it was there. It was fine. But yeah, overall, I liked it. It was a good, for me, who's not, you know, I don't have a good beat on like, what is a James Bond movie? A lot of people have this strong opinion on this is James Bond. This is how he works. This is what he is. I'm generally able to go in and be like, hey, it's a movie with James Bond in it. And I kind of just go with the flow. Like whatever that plot sets as their rules, I'm okay with. Yeah. There are your extremes. You know, I think the Pierce Brosnan movies that eventually get so heavy on gadgets, you kind of forget what in the world you're doing there in the first place. But this one, he came back. He seemed like he was having a good time. I actually liked the double Blofeld thing. I thought that was kind of fun. It had moments where I could laugh a little bit. It broke the tension. But yeah, it could take itself a little more seriously. It could, Casino Royale is one of my favorite Bond movies ever, and that takes itself very seriously, and it feels like a Bond movie. This one just dials that seriousness back about 35%, and
I think
lets itself have fun.
Yeah, overall, it is enjoyable, but it's just kind of there. Like it's not. It's enjoyable, but it's not super memorable outside of Mr. Wint and Mr. Kidd and the silliness of that one stunt with the Mustang as like a goof. Like it's not a super memorable movie. Like if I think of Blofeld, I don't think of Charles Gray as Blofeld.
Sure.
You know, when I think of Bond girls, I don't think of Tiffany Case or Plenty O'Toole. They're not the ones that come to mind first. And that, you know, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It is what it is. But overall, an enjoyable time.
Definitely.
So, did you watch this movie? Have you seen this James Bond movie before? Do you have thoughts on it or James Bond in general? We want to hear from you, right? We want to know.
Oh, yeah.
Where can people get a hold of us, Stephen?
You should look for us as 24FPS Presents on Blue Sky. If you're on that social network, you can find us there. You can also find me, Steve H&H, and Travis, TVsTravis, over there. Search for us. You'll know who we are. If you want all those links, though, you can hit up Travis's website, TVsTravis.com, where you can find links to episodes of stuff he's done and other stuff we've done on 24FPS. But for this podcast, you can send us email, 24fpspodcast@gmail.com. That's 24. That's not right. We got to edit that. It's 24fpspresents@gmail.com. I just read it like Ron Burgundy. All right, let me take
That's
a beat.
okay.
You can email us at 24fpspresents@gmail.com. We would love to hear your emails because we would love to produce feedback episodes. On top of that, if you want to use your voice, real simple, on your old Fellatone, there you can go into voicecast.app/24fps, hit a button and record us a message of how vehemently you disagree with our opinions about this movie. And we'd be happy to address those when we do feedback episodes. This is a two-way street. Come at us with what you think, and we would love to have this conversation with you.
Absolutely. We want your thoughts. We want your Bond-isms, your Bond ideas. What's your favorite thing? What's your least favorite thing? Do you remember this movie? All of it. We want to know. Stephen, what are we doing for our next movie? We've done the worst of Sean Connery. It's time for the best of Sean Connery.
The best of Sean Connery. I don't think the audience even needs me to say this out loud, but I'm going to do it. At 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, we are going into Goldfinger.
Excellent.
It is one of the top Bond movies of all time, if not the top Bond movie of all time. It just happens to be a Sean Connery movie, so we are going to do the best of the best with Goldfinger. Coming up next time on 24FPS Presents The Good, the Bad, the
Awesome. The Good, the Bad, the Bond continues on with Goldfinger, so join us for that. And until then, enjoy your vodka martinis. Shaken.